Okay, hello there, I'm Dennis. And in this video, we're going to install and take a look at Gecko Linux. Let me minimize this. Pull up my VirtualBox. I've got it set up with 4 gigabytes of RAM, 2 cores of my processor. I've enabled the EFI. I've turned the video memory all the way up, and I give it a 56.5 gigabyte virtual storage. So let's see if we can get her started. Alright, our first default screen will be Gecko Linux rolling Xfce, failsafe, which would be like safe mode. Or we could boot from the hard disk or check our media, which you should do when you download it. So I'm going to go ahead and hit enter on the Gecko rolling Xfce. Let me get in full screen here. So Gecko Linux is a branch or fork of openSUSE. They use openSUSE as their base. And apparently we have the guest editions installed. And the makings of a very nice Xfce. The installer is right here on the desktop. I'll pull that over here like I normally do. The language installer. So if we're in anywhere besides America or speaking English, this will let you set that up. Before we get into the menu, I'm going to go ahead and just double click the installer, which that's the Calamaris icon. So I'm assuming just, there we go. American English, that's good for me. We can click on release notes, Gecko Linux support, say next. We're in America, and in Chicago is the central time zone, which is where I'm at. That's nice. I'm going to click next. Now you could make those changes right here. If you click on the change button, you can change it. You can see here by default English US UTF-8 is selected for me, but you can change that here if you'd like, and also the time zone, you can change that. But this is good, America, Chicago. After you've selected your time zones, click next. This is a Octothorpe, and that is correct. Once you've selected your keyboard, proceed with next. We're going to do manual partition. Let's see if it'll show me what it will do if I just allow it to do what it wants to do. It'll set up a 300 megabyte EFI boot partition, and all the rest of it will be on root drive or administrator. So I don't like that. That's with no swap. Let's see. Swap with no hibernate. It'll only give us 5.6 gigabytes, which on a regular machine, that would be awesome. 8.4. Now I've allocated 4 gigabytes of RAM. 1.5 of that would be what they recommend. That's what Debian recommends. I'm going to select manual partitioning and select next. We're going to need a new partition table. And this is GPT since we're under UEFI mode. I'm going to left click on the free space, left click on create. And this first one here will be 512 megabytes. The file system will be FAT32. The mount point will be EFI or boot EFI. And down near the bottom here, we're going to, not root, I'm sorry, swap. Here it is, boot. And I'm going to also select the ESP. So we got boot and ESP flag set, 512 megabytes. We're going to say OK. Left click on the free space again. Now here, 8192, that's 8 gigabytes of what we're going to say is swap space here, Linux swap. And down on the bottom, the flag is swap. We're going to say OK. Now we got some unused space. We're going to say create. I'm going to divide that about in half, so 23. And this will be our root partition administrator. So root, flag, say OK. Left click on the free space again. Select create. We're going to leave the size exactly where it is and change it to the mount point to /home. And there will not be a flag for home. Say OK. That sets us up. We got 4 partitions. We got the EFI, boot EFI, the swap, a root partition or C drive. We got a home partition or D drive or data drive. If I'm good with that, I'm going to say next. I'm going to give it my name, Dennis. Did not buck against the capital. I'm going to give it a password. Repeat the password. I am not going to log in automatically without asking for the password. We're going to use the same password for the administrator account. So click next when you're happy. Here's a summary of what's going to happen here. We're going to get our EFI system, the red. The orange is our swap. The pink will be our C drive or our root. Home will be the peach, I guess that is. And I'm happy with that. All of these location settings and keyboard settings are great. Install now. So that's pretty nice that we have the guest editions. Makes it easier to see. It's creating the partitions. I'm going to right Control F to get out of full screen. I'm going to go to my web browser. My search here started, I've been looking for Xfce desktops, and I found Gecko Linux at DistroWatch. Let me go, this is where I should have been. Search started for Xfce. I was at DistroWatch, and I found, let's see, Gecko Linux. Click on that, which has a Xfce desktop. It's based on openSUSE. Gecko Linux is a Linux spin based on the openSUSE distribution with a focus on polish and out-of-the-box usability on the desktop. The distribution features many desktop editions which can be installed from live disk. Some patent-encumbered open-source software is included in the Gecko Linux, which is not available in the default installation of openSUSE. True. Special attention has been given to the quality of the font rendering. Gecko Linux provides two main editions, static and rolling, and I'm doing the rolling here. I click on there and it would carry me to their home page, but before I did that, I just did a quick Google search on it, which also brings you to their home page. It gives you this little wiki thing here that says Gecko Linux is a Linux distribution based on openSUSE. More importantly, what I wanted to see was when it was its first release date, 2016. At this point, that's 5 years from now, or this May will be 5 years birthday. Go back to their web page here, their home page. It's geckolinux.github.io. That's https://geckolinux.github.io. And right away, you're welcome to Gecko Linux. That's going to reread what I just read twice, so I won't reread it again. Release notes on the GitHub. Gecko Linux features, what sets this aside, are different from openSUSE. It has an installable live DVD USB image based on openSUSE around 1 gigabyte in size. Individual editions for many different popular desktop environments with a pleasant default configuration. Carefully selected open source desktop programs and proprietary media codecs are pre-installed and ready to use. Beautiful open source font rendering, optimal power management, much more open source and patent encumbered software available in the pre-configured repositories. Uses the excellent infrastructure already in place for the openSUSE. An installed system can be smoothly upgraded to future openSUSE releases, which is very important. Now, how is it different? Gecko Linux comes in an offline, we just read that, a net, whereas openSUSE comes with the net installer. Gecko Linux offers customizable editions optimized for different desktop environments. Gecko Linux comes pre-installed with common niceties such as the proprietary media codec. So far, we're just repeating what we just read. Gecko Linux prefers packages from the Pacman repo when they are available. Some of openSUSE's default packages don't work with patent-restricted features, even if the features are installed from other sources. Gecko Linux comes pre-configured with what many would consider to be a good font rendering, whereas many users find openSUSE's default font configuration to be less than desirable. Gecko Linux does not force the installation of additional recommended packages. Gecko's Linux desktop programs can be uninstalled with all their dependencies, whereas openSUSE's patterns often cause uninstalled packages to be automatically reinstalled. First choices here you got are your static release, which means it's going to update ever so often. openSUSE was minor every year, major every 3 to 4 years. Come on down to rolling releases under here, and this is where I got my Xfce downloads. If you click on that, you'll be led to a download link at SourceForge. Let me click the back button twice real quick. So it won't download it, but that's how you get it. The next editions, openSUSE combined with additional OBS repositories to offer the latest versions of popular desktop environments. Looking for the static release or the rolling release? Gecko Linux Plasma, and the next with Pantheon. All right, back up to the top here, and if you click on documentation, it opens up the wiki, and there's really not a whole lot of information here. They do give you, they tag it advanced users only, but they give you the command line for putting a burning ISO onto a USB drive. They also tell you that if you're asked for a username, it's Linux, but no password. The username is root with no password. Pretty easy. Gives you a walkthrough on how to install other languages, French, Spanish, etc., Afrikaans, Bulgarian, etc. Gives you help getting that done. How to update it, so you can do it through their Yast software tool, or they actually give you a command line. Open a terminal and run sudo zypper dup. Alright, let's see where our installer's at. So our installer's finished. Let me get off of my web pages here. Go back to their home page. Minimize that. So there's not a lot of information on there. Alright, open back up. Get back in full screen here. I'm going to say done. Then I'm going to find the menu item and go to click on restart. I'll just leave her in full screen. This is Gecko Linux. Linux's answer to openSUSE, making it easier for very new to Linux users. And I just discovered openSUSE, and that's why I'm doing this Gecko Linux right here, because I want to look at both of those. openSUSE so far is very nice. So this looks like the Xfce, this looks like the Light DM greeter. At the top here, we got our language selected. If this is wrong, you click on that and select your right one. We got the date and the time. We got a power on and power off button. We have the session button with just the one Xfce. So let me give it my password. You could either hit enter or click on login. Now that was strange because that didn't have the guest editions, but here we go. Maybe that'll straighten itself up there. There we went. Very nice. So far I like the desktop. Let me see if I can make this bigger from there. Nope. Not that way anyway. Panel preferences. Row size. That's got to be bigger. Thank you. Appearance, do that automatically. Guess that red means it's on, not off. Alright. We do have Whisker Menu. Alright, and it's set up with the categories on the left. Right off the bat, we're on the favorites, we got Xfce Terminal. So I might as well just open that up and bring that over here so I can put my titles into that so people can see it. I can try to remember not to do anything in this terminal, but to bring up another one. Then we got the Yast software. We're going to need a password. And down at the bottom here, minimize all windows. We got the volume applet. Let's make sure that we got sound right out of the box. Not hearing sound. Let's see what we got here. Configuration, that would be right. Microphone, not picking up my microphone. Output, we're not getting any. It says it's making sound. Can I access installation media, Google, Linux, Chrome, RPM stable? Check whether the server skip auto refresh. Okay. This is the Yast2 installer, which is exactly the same as the openSUSE. Why was there no results? Because it did not refresh. Dependencies, auto check, configuration, online, import, extras, no refresh. Let me just close it out. Close this out. Close that out. Go back to it. Open it up. Give it my password. And let's see, refresh. Not sure why it couldn't refresh. If we get that same error, click on more details. I do remember getting that same error in openSUSE. So far it seems to be refreshing okay. And you saw the result. If I hit skip auto refresh, it's not going to be synced with their databases, and you're not going to get any results, search results. Yast2 software management. Right now it's running through and should be checking to see if we need any updates. There is one available. Ucode Intel. I'm used to seeing that written out as Intel Ucode, but that's okay. We're going to accept. Go ahead and let that install. Using script. Back over here. All right, so while that's busy doing that, it made it sound like it was very small. 3.48 megabytes. Back in their menu here, let me bring that up a little bit better. Under accessories, we got this is finished. Oh, not supposed to click finished. You're supposed to click continue. I knew that. Now it's going to refresh again. But it was faster. So now let me type in no max. And there it is. No max, that's good. We'll accept. And this is how this is telling you the extra dependencies it's going to bring in. Well, if you're happy, click continue. And we're going to go through the same process. It just went through to update. And now it's going to install that. No max. So we'll be here under accessories, waiting for that to get finished. Under accessories, we got application finder, bulk rename, clipboard manager, the Ngrampa archive manager, calculator, the best calculator for me. That finished. Mate search tool, notes, Pluma, file edit text files. Xfce, I'm not sure what that is. Requires a password though. So back on the Yast here, get back on that. We're going to, instead of clicking finish, click continue. And then that will not close it out and you can do your next search. And there it is. So that's how you install via the Yast installer. Xfce, touchpad, mouse. I'm not sure what just happened. We got to research that and find out where it went. Under accessories, that was Xfce Advanced X configuration. Not sure why I had to change any of that. See, there's no real explanation here. I'm going to have to research that and I'll put the answer right there. Interesting though. Okay, under graphics, document scanner, that came in. Document viewer, that came in. Libreoffice draw, that indicates that we probably have the full Libreoffice, and we do. We go back to graphics. We got Nomax, which I just installed. Pix to organize your pictures and images. Ristretto image viewer. Okay, so most of that came in by default. All of it but the No Max came in by default. Under Internet, we got the Firefox for the Internet browser with a quick launcher down here in the panel. Pigeon for Internet service or messaging service. Thunderbird for your mail. Transmission for your BitTorrents. Under Multimedia, we got Clementine. Clementine's okay. Multimedia, we got Pulse Audio Volume Control and Vlc Media Player. Are you going to open up Clementine? Okay, here it comes. Let's see. Now, if I remember right, if I just close this out, it's still going to be running right there. So, got to bring that back up. Go into Preferences. Preferences. Oh, playing audio. Not there. Behavior. Show tryout. Keep running. Keep running in the background when the system is closed, when the window is closed. But I'm not a fan of that. Now you still need to go into notifications. I think that got rid of it. Let's go back into the menu here. That was under multimedia. Let's open up Vlc Player. Agree to their network access policy. We'll just say open a file, and we'll navigate to File System, User, Share, all the way down near the bottom. Sounds, purple. Let's select them all. See what happens. See if we can get some volume. Yeah. There we go. See what else it's got. Front left, front right.
Front, center, front, left.
Yeah,
front,
clearly hear that.
Right.
So we do have volume right out of the box. Nice. That was under multimedia. So under Office, we got the full suite of Libreoffice, which I really like the way they've done their little splash screen right there. It's very nice. Okay, close that out. I don't want to see the release notes. I do want to see if we got the latest, which is 7031. So this is the latest, greatest LibreOffice. So under settings, this would be the stuff that you see in your settings panel. Under system, let's see, do we have like task manager? We do have disk, Gnome disk. Leave that open for a second. Under system again, we got Gparted is left in by default. Very nice. I was going to install it anyway. And here we have that Xfce again. Sensor view, which won't work because we're in a virtual box. Here's where you write the image to a USB. Task manager. We'll bring up another terminal. Control-Alt-T. Does that work for me? Does not. That's a negative. Sudo. That threw me for a loop there, not bringing up another terminal. Sudo zipper install Gnome system monitor htop. That'll do for now. Give it my password. And so that's how you install packages or software using the command line. Zipper install. And that should be done. Htop. That's reporting that we're using 503 megs, so very low on RAM usage. Please close, don't ask me again. Alright, let's go back here and find the system monitor we just installed right here. See what we got there. One of the reasons why I like the Gnome system monitor is it shows you and I know other ways of doing this, and I know other monitors do this as well, but this is one of the reasons why I choose Gnome system monitors. It lets you see the internet traffic. This is reporting that we're using 742 megs, which part of that is the system monitor itself. Very low on CPU usage. Nice. Let's see what HTOP's reporting now. 502, 503, so about 200 megs discrepancy there. So this is Gnome Disk Utility, which you can do all kind of things here. You can format a disk, create a disk image, restore a disk image. You can benchmark your disk. You can turn on and off drive settings. You can check your smart data, which will give you information, critical information on your hard drive. I love Gnome Disk. All right. So I think that completes the menu except for the control panel and the Yast software. We got the language installer there. We got the system log, Yast alternatives, manage system-wide setting. That's like a control panel, which is very nice. Yast bootloader. So if you have problems with your booting, you can boot into a live ISO, open this up and correct that. I believe that's how that works. Yast date and time. I wonder if that'll allow me to make it bigger. And why do I need a password to set the clock? But that's okay. So install Crony then. Go ahead. Other settings. No changing the size. That would be the Xfce panel plugin probably, and it is. Alright, I'm okay with that for now. Now let's go back to the panel and back to Yast. That was the Yast date and time, Yast file system snapshots. Nice. Yast firewall, that should be enabled by default. Yast host names, keyboard, language, media check, Yast network, Yast NTP configuration, Yast partitioner, Yast printer, proxy, release notes, remote administration, security center, Yast service manager, Yast software management, Yast software repositories, Yast sudo. Configure sudo. Who has sudo rights? I'm assuming user and group management. Let's see what that does. Okay, so rules for sudo. You can create aliases, run as alias, host, command lines, rules for sudo. So right now he has all rights, but still has a password. Include Xfce setters. This looks a lot like the pacman.conf file. Okay, that's very nice. You can change that here. I think that pretty much gets it for Gecko. Gecko said that it was basically based on openSUSE. It gives you some stuff off the bat, like the multimedia codecs that you may need. Gives you a way to install software using the Yast software tool, or you can do it with the terminal, which in this case it said sudo zipper. Let's see, what was it? DUP. D-U-P. Download update, I'm assuming. So it's going to ask me for a password. So let's see if there's any. Yes, lots. System boot required. Lots of updates. Lots of updates. I'm going to select no for now, so you don't have to set through that. Clear the screen. Put this back where it belonged. Okay, we'll see. This is Clip It, looks like. Property. Yep, Clip It. Clip Man. Ethernet. Power. We'll remove that because I'm not on a laptop. Volume. It's still showing me though. Let's see. Properties. Here we go. Turn that crap off. There were shortcuts, payview control, media players, hidden. Thank you. Clear. All right, but it's not there now. It's just a small peeve of mine. Let's go see, look at their desktop. See if they got any wallpapers besides the Xfce and this one. Not seeing any. Let's see other wallpapers. Okay, openSUSE default. This should, nope, yep. Yep, that's the openSUSE default. Interesting that's included. Let's go back to other. Guess that wasn't the right way to do it. Share, wallpapers, open. There we go. So these are all openSUSE, just different sizes. So we'll leave it to that as we can. Right click menu. Stuff you want to see on your desktop or not see on your desktop. So not bad. It looks and acts just like openSUSE so far. I'm going to play in it for a little while and find out if it's really a better version of openSUSE or not. Sometimes the fork could be arguably better depending on who you're talking to. I'm going to find out. I like openSUSE. I have it on my laptop right now. And if I like Gecko, it might replace openSUSE. To be honest, I doubt it. But I'll give it a chance. We'll see. Okay, well, that's the video. We've installed Gecko Linux based on openSUSE. Let me get out of full screen here. All right, very nice. And I'll just close this out so that don't come open for me next time when I'm just going to shut down. And we're going to say goodbye. Thank you so much for watching. Hope everything's good for you. This is within the first week of January 2021. Peace. Y'all live good. Bye.